and discussing issues with presidents. I've traveled the world. I've been from Africa to Switzerland and been on every major network talking about voting rights. I've been on every major network talking about stand your ground. And I've lived a remarkable life thus far. And honestly, I credit my father with where I am today. And not the way you think. Because in 1969, a 14-year-old girl got pregnant in Fort Lauderdale, at Fort Lauderdale High School. And she went and had this little baby boy. And then a month later, she went down to the courthouse, and some of y'all know how it goes. And she went down there, and she stood there with the baby, and the young man stood next to her and said, "That is not my child." So my birth certificate just says mother. It doesn't say father. And I say I credit him because I spent my entire life trying to make him regret that day.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
That he did not stand up for me. And that's been an inspiration my entire life to keep proving to him that he made the mistake of his life. He made a bad decision that day not to stand up. And I'm not going to say that I didn't have fathers in my life. And that's what I want to talk to you a moment about. I had fathers in my life. Not your traditional fathers. I mentioned before, City Commissioner Carlton Moore just passed away recently. Was a great influence in my life. He was NAACP president. He taught me how to sit in a meeting. He taught me how to stand up in a meeting and how to stand up for myself and stand up for my community. He taught me, he put me on the city's planning and zoning board and taught me to stand up when those developers come in and just want to put any kind of mess in our community. But they look at all the rules when it comes to their communities. He taught me how to be an elected official. There was even a white man, Bob Heaton, who I look at as a father, a lawyer in town, who hired me when I was in high school. And I was a runner in his office. And he taught me how to check everything twice as a lawyer and how to always look at every contract before you make a decision. When you make a legal decision, make sure you got all the background. When you go before a judge or go before anything, make sure you know everything you need to know. He taught me the compassion to take care of somebody else's child. I had another father, Dean Pearson. If any of you remember, at Parkwood Middle School, years ago, there was a Dean Harold Pearson, 6'2", bald-head, former football player. And at Parkwood, we had 7th periods. 7 periods you go to. Dean Pearson was my 8th period. Because it seems every other day I was bent over his desk getting 3 blacks. But he was a strong man. He was a strong black man who taught me the discipline, who taught me that you need discipline, that you need boundaries as a father. And lastly, the father I want to talk about is Mr. Haynes. Now, all these people I've talked about, nice college graduates and everything, Mr. Haynes had the most influential influence on my life. Mr. Haynes lived down the street. There was a house, and there was a little side piece of a house, a 1 room. And Mr. Haynes lived in that 1 room with his 2 sons, alone, with his 2 sons in a 1-room apartment attached to a house. Mr. Haynes never finished middle school. He had a lawn truck. Every day he went out and cut lawns. Then he would come home and pick up his sons and take them to football practice. I lived down the street. Mr. Haynes would always make sure he'd drive by my house, honk the horn so I can come out and jump on the back of that truck to go to football practice. And he talked to his sons. See, his sons were the stars on the team. His son Anthony's was a great running back. We were on the same team, and Anthony's was one of the cool kids and a star running back. And I'll admit, I wasn't one of the stars on the team. I used to weigh in, fully dressed, holding my helmet, and still make weight. So I was one of the little ones on the team. But Mr. Haynes used to talk to his sons and say, you know, Chris, make sure y'all keep him involved. And when you're on the field or stand on the sideline, don't shun him because he's not one of the stars. Make sure you keep him involved. And when we would leave football practice, he'd stop by Burger King and buy his kids a hamburger. And he'd buy me a hamburger. And then he'd take me home and drop me off. Here's a man that never finished middle school. But what he taught me was how to be a man.
Yeah.
He was raising his own 2 sons by himself and took the time to raise me. He taught his kids equality and to teach and to treat me equal, even though I wasn't one of the stars on the team. Here's a man of meager. I mean, I'm sure Mr. Haynes didn't have a lot of money, but also put out every night to buy me a hamburger. As fathers in this community, as fathers, we're not just the fathers to our kids. And we got to realize that if we celebrate Father's Day on Sunday, you're not just celebrating that you're raising your child and you're doing this for your child, but we have extra, because a lot of us are fathers to many kids. Right. We're fathers to many kids. We may not even know that we're their father. There's a kid that's sitting in church on Sunday that's looking at you in church. That's right. And learning to be a man because he sees you in church. He sees you putting on a shirt and tie. He sees you standing up for the Lord. You're a father to that young man and you don't even know it. There's a young man that watch you go to work every day and watch you drive home and watch you make the mortgage payment, watch you wash the cars on the weekend, watch you cut the yard, and even watch you discipline your own kids. And he's learning to be a father because he's watching you. Mr. Haynes passed away a couple of years ago, and it hurts me that he doesn't see what I've grown up to be. Here's a man, he probably didn't even know that he was a father to me. He probably didn't know what a profound effect he had on my life. You should realize that. You should realize the profound effect you're having on everybody's life. And watch yourself, because that's an awesome responsibility. It's an awesome responsibility. There are a lot of things I like to do, but I shy away from it when I know others are around, other kids are around, because I know I'm an influence for a lot of kids in my community. I know a lot of those kids that are outside playing basketball with my kids in the front yard. A lot of them are looking to me as a father figure. A lot of the kids that are riding their bike up and down the street, when they see me and my kids outside washing the cars and things, I realize that I may be the only father figure they see. That's right. And so I have to do the right thing. We have an awesome responsibility in our community. But lastly, on Father's Day, I got to give a shout out to the mothers who are fathers. Mm-hmm. It was my mama at those Little League baseball games when, because again, I wasn't one of the best players. And pitch came in and I had a good little rhythm. My mama never came to my games. So every time a pitch came in, and you little kids, you can't throw that hard. I lean in, take a hit, walk to the base. I was kind of quick, so I'd make it to third base and wait for somebody to get me home. One day my mama showed up to the baseball game. I did my normal. I leaned in, boom, take my hit. I'm on my way to first base. I hear a little commotion in the back. I didn't know my mama had come out the stands going after the pitcher for hitting her baseball. That's how I get on base. But that was a mama standing in the place of a father. That's right. Being at that game, being protective of her child. And there are a lot of you around here that are doing that every day. You had your day a month ago, but for the work that you've done, for the tears you've shed, for the tears you've dried up, you deserve 2 days. That's right. Yeah. So you get a month ago and you get this Sunday. Because you've been mother and father in the household, in the community. So as we get to Father's Day, I just want everybody to remember, reach out to those people. Reach out to some of those men that live on your street. Some of those men that attend your church. Some of the men on your job. And realize, even if they don't have kids, if they are being a man, if there's a gentleman on your street, at your job, at your church, being a man, and I mean a man that's going to work every day, a man that's going home every day, a man that's doing the things that he should do in the community, thank them this Sunday. Thank them this Sunday on being a father. And thank you to this community, because as a community, we've been mother and father to all the kids. Made sure I brought my 2 sons here tonight to realize what Father's Day is, because a lot of times I'm just the one who bringing the discipline, but realize that you have to bring that discipline. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Osgood, I hope we can bring that discipline back in the schools, because if it wasn't for Dean Pearson, and a lot of you are thinking of the Dean Pearsons from your school, you wouldn't be here today. So thank you for having this great program tonight. I mean, this is an excellent program. Terry Williams is here. Terry and I, another former, we ran against each other for the Senate, and as I won the Senate seat, one of the first people like, Chris, you ever need anything, give me a call. I'm there for you. I still got a lot of good ideas. I'm running by you. Keep it up. And I mean, that's what we need more in this community. People like Terry who you know, put their campaign aside and move forward. And I appreciate that, Terry. You never know how much I appreciate that. Thanks for being here. But again, thank you for having this for men in our community. Thank you for having this for Father's Day. And God bless you all for being out here tonight.